Hey, how you doing? This is the Cool Show. And today, I have my friend Jade with me. Say hey, Jade.
Hey, everyone.
Today, we are going to talk about spontaneity. Being spontaneous. Doing things at an instance, on a moment's notice. Now, if you know K Breeze at all, you know I do this all the time. I live by spontaneity. Spontaneity is my best friend. As a matter of fact, spontaneity has a spot in my house. Or in my room.
When he has a spot in your house or in your room, what does that mean?
He lives in the corner. I make him sleep on the floor. I don't treat spontaneity very good.
Okay, that sounds weird. Okay, different things for different people. Okay.
But due to the fact we're talking about spontaneity, how was your weekend? Because it was, you did something out of the ordinary this week.
It's not out of the ordinary.
Well, not out of the ordinary, but different. Different from your regular work schedule, right?
I wouldn't say different. I just went to a concert. So, I have a friend.
No. Before that. Lead up to the concert.
Well, I was about to tell you the story.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thanks. So, I have a friend from Texas, but we both live outside of Texas, and the Astros was in the World Series, and someone told him, like, why don't you go to Texas to watch the Astros play or be with other like-minded fans? And he's like, you know what? He bought a one-way ticket to go home. And I said, what did your boss say? He's like, well, I had a discussion, but I told him I bought a one-way ticket. So I always admired him because he's very bold. He's extremely intelligent, and when something comes in his mind, he just does it, and he figures the rest of the things out. So this year, he's been encouraging me to be like, just do new things. And if you know me, I do try a lot of new things, but I'll think about it a little bit more. So this past weekend, most of my friends were out and they were busy. And I wanted to stay in the city, and Facebook has something called events, and I was looking at events, and there are some friends in Texas who saw Elton John, and I thought, Elton John is he's Rocket Man.
I have a question.
Yellow Brick Road, he's amazing.
I was just going to ask you that. You just said it. Is he the Rocket Man?
He is.
The Rocket Man.
He is the Rocket Man. He sings Benny and the Jets, a lot of classic songs. And I was like, you know what? I missed out on seeing Prince before he passed because I'm a diehard Prince fan. I love Prince. I think he's just a musical genius, and Elton John is really good too. And I love karaoke, so he has some classic go-to songs I like to sing. Can't sing as high as him, but I like it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go check it out. So I looked online, and 2,000 people were in front of me. So I just got on the train and went to the box office and got tickets.
Oh.
And it was floor side, and it was great. I sat next to a lady who had been to Elton John 44 times. So She was a diehard fan.
Goodness. And she's more of a fan than you.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm a Prince fan. I love Prince.
Yeah.
But Elton John is good, And in your comments, tell us who is some of your favorite artists. But Elton John is a musical genius. And I was sitting next to a guy, I didn't get his name, but he said that Elton John does not sing with IFB, so he can hear the audience.
He's been doing it for a while now, though, right?
Yeah, this is 50 years of him performing as Elton John.
Wow.
He performed before that. But he always likes the energy, and he sounds just like the recordings. And there was nothing like being in a sold-out State Farm arena with people who love Elton John and just hearing him and embracing him. And it was so great to hear his stories and hear how Benny, I think Tallman, his writing partner for so many years, how Benny would give him the lyrics, and he would go in another room and compose
the actual song.
compose the music to go. He brings the music to life. So
shout out to Elton John.
Yeah, so farewell to Yellowbrook Road. So I was thoroughly enjoyed going to see Elton, and shout out to the people around me. A side note, one of the guys that was sitting next to me, he was talking about the percussionist. So if you ever see the percussionist in the Elton John show, he's doing a lot. Like, he had the tambourine, he was doing the chimes, and he was just so energetic and entertaining. So find your passion, just go for it, because Elton and people in his band, the Elton John band, are really following their passion. So that was my story about doing something a little different, and I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Elton John. Hashtag farewell. Hashtag Elton farewell.
We're not doing shout outs.
Yeah, that's what it was.
The whole point of this is to talk about.
That is.
We are recruiting Jade to Team Spontaneity. Shout out to the tambourine player, though.
The tambourine player is really good. But you know what? In life, everybody has like different positions. So you enjoy spontaneity and being spontaneous, but everyone's not like that, and it's A-okay. So for people who is not that spontaneous, it's good to have friends that are spontaneous.
That is true.
You don't actually have to be the one. Because everyone, everyone.
You can also
everyone brings something to the
table.
table.
Just because you're not spontaneous as you like to be, doesn't mean you can't be more spontaneous. Life is just like playing sports. You need to be an all-around player. Because I'm a sports fanatic. Like if you bring it back to journalism and other things.
No, because with journalism you can have an awareness,
But you can do other things as well, right?
You have an awareness, but there might be one role you can play better than everyone else.
Exactly.
So
I'm not saying that you have to be spontaneous all the time. I'm saying that
it's great to have friends.
It's great to be more spontaneous.
People that may be spontaneous.
For example, the reason why I'm recruiting her to Team Spontaneity, because she's recruiting me to Team Structure. It's
not about structure.
It is structure.
It's about planning.
Isn't that structure?
That was something's on my glasses.
That's part of building something is structure. You have to be structured for something to prosper, for it to go how you want it to go. You must plan, right?
You can have a plan, but be flexible. I call it flexibility. You can have a plan, but you have to be flexible to adjust based on input, based on just changing the environment. So I say having a plan, writing things down so you know where you're going. So what they always say about dreams, dreams aren't reality until you put a plan together and then move out.
And sometimes you got to be spontaneous and just move at a moment's notice, because it's not. Sometimes it ain't about the plan. Sometimes your plan will cause you to sit there and think about it, rethink about it, restructure it in your mind.
No flexibility. That's people who
that's spontaneity.
No, sometimes people have a hard time making the decision. That's not my case. I receive input from a bunch of things, and then I see what works for me.
But haven't you ever? I don't want to do this. But haven't you ever been in a situation where it was like, you just need to make a decision now? Not forget all the research, forget all the other stuff.
But the thing about life is, the more life, so this is what I will tell anybody. So as with life and getting older and experiences becomes wisdom. So things I might have did earlier in my life may not be the same thing I do now. So I think experience plays a lot into it, because I know I had someone recently call me and she said, how do I encourage myself? I said, well, why should I be negative? Negativity doesn't solve problems. I'm a person of action. So if I sit there and say I can't do it, then I can't. But I'm a person of possibilities. I'm a person that, okay, it doesn't look bleak, but I can tackle the problem, one bite at a time. A journey of I don't remember the phrase, but journey is about taking one step forward every day. So You don't have to be, you can be spontaneous, but you have to be willing to make a decision and go for it. And that comes with wisdom and surrounding yourself around great people. And this is a point I want to say.
Hold on.
Wait.
You just made like 5 points.
No, wait.
You made like 5 points.
Hold on.
Let me make a point.
Wait,
let me make a point, and then you finish.
Let me finish.
Let me like have an interjection.
Wait, let me finish.
I need like
Wait,
a little bit.
1 second. Life works because we have different people surrounded by you. So I don't have to be spontaneous because that's what you like to do, and I
might not always be here. I can walk off tomorrow and just be hit by a train.
But at the same
you gonna have to be spontaneous on your own.
But at the same time, that's an experience. That's what you bring to the table, and that's something that life. Look at the people who surround you. Think about people who encourage you and take you or help you get to further other steps. You need different people on your teams because they play different roles, and they might be here for a short season or a long season, but the time you have together is always precious. So what I will say to you, I don't have to be team spontaneity, but it's because the time that we have.
But I have to be team structure?
No, that's, you have to decide how you want to live your life.
All I ever do is give people, in order to get what I need, I have to be more structured, right?
I give people recommendations. You can choose to accept it or not accept it. You have to do what's best for you. So if team spontaneity works for you, then I'm always going to say, go what works for you, because I don't know what calling you have on your life. I don't know what you know about you, because I know about me is that when I want to do something and I have it in my mind, I know I can do it. Besides any doubters, I'm going to make it work. So
you just highlighted on something we talked about earlier. All right, so I was telling Jade, all right, you have to join team spontaneity. She's completely against joining team spontaneity, as you can see.
I'm not against. I said do what's best for you.
You had your point. It's Darius time. It's cool breeze, time to shine in the sunlight. Anyway, so we were having our discussion about her joining team spontaneity. And I was saying to her that, of course, you got to be more spontaneous, just in life in general. Because once you start becoming spontaneous, it builds like a ripple effect. Especially when, like she said, you have this wisdom, this confidence. You've been on certain paths. You've seen certain things. So it's like, okay, I think I could just jump into this and just try it, just simply due to my experiences. Now, when we were talking about the event, she was telling us that it was sold out. The thing about spontaneity, to some degree, is once you believe in your mind and like you just jump on the decision, it starts to ripple effect. It starts to snowball effect to where you believe you're going to do this no matter what. Like, no matter what happens. Initially, it was sold out. So what Jay did
almost sold out.
Almost sold out. Okay. It's Elton John though. It was gonna sell out. The next thing was she believed that she could do it. Spontaneity, that's all it really is. It's just a belief. No, spontaneity is all like I'm Mr. Spontaneous. I'm telling you. It is truly spontaneity. I don't think I could be spontaneity if I didn't believe certain.
All the time.
Yeah, I don't think I could be spontaneous all the time if I didn't believe certain
because
things.
I feel when we first met, when I took your cell phone, you were like, what are you doing with the cell phone?
And then what did I do?
What did you do after it?
I was spontaneous. We had a good little segment, right?
You were open.
Yeah, and then what happened 2 days later? We were spontaneous. We recorded on the spot.
But who brought it? Who said let's record?
I said I'm recording today.
No, you said you're going to record later. I said, hey, let's do it.
That is today, right?
No, later can mean...
Later is today.
No, later has a lot of interpretations. No. Don't do revisionist history. So, at the event when we first met, I said, hey, because when I saw him, he was like, let's be Instagram friends. But hey... She doesn't know the
spontaneity bug is running off on her.
Well,
she's been effective with spontaneity.
No, but I was like, hey, let's just do it.
Right.
So sometimes it's just do it. So I don't call it spontaneous, but that's something I wanted to do at that moment. So I was going to do it anyway because I was interviewing people because I like talking to individuals. So I don't call it spontaneous. For me, I was like, hey, if we have a great vibe, I want to talk and get people's story. So I think the more of the story is people see things differently and people have different perspectives, and you can name it differently, but I'm going to say always do what's best for you. And you can receive input from other folks, but you know what's best for you. And you know what's best for you. So my friend that I referenced earlier, I also want to talk about their approach. When you're trying to convince or encourage someone to do something, how you say something and the words you use does matter. So my friend never says, you should do it. Hey, he like phrases it differently. So I said, hey, I'm thinking about going
That's
to Elton
persuasion.
John. He's like, you should totally do it. Like, he's awesome. And I would call him my own personal hype man. So yeah, so I think how it comes off and the relationship you have with the person and the time and date, it's a lot of factors. But I'm glad that I have this individual in my life. And shout out to all my friends in Texas, and whoever your circle group. So I've been blessed by many people who have encouraged me to do different things. So you call it tomato, I could call it tomato. So I just think it's how you look at your life and how you view it. Anything else you would like to add?
She's joining Team Spontaneity. She just doesn't know it yet. It's all right. It's all right. The more spontaneous she is.
Because you keep saying that, I like to deal in details and example. Give us an example of when your spontaneity worked out really well for you. And then one that wasn't so great and what you learned from it.
See, this is the problem. Spontaneity has worked for me like a lot. I think, so one time, there's a couple times that it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, it's horrible. That's the one thing I'll give spontaneity. Planning, if it doesn't work, it's like you planned and there was a possibility it didn't work. It wasn't going to work. Spontaneity, there is no possibility it's going to work. So if it doesn't work, it's like, you now have to, you have to be creative. But what I believe about spontaneity is that I've had situations where I'm just going to use females to be an example. Getting at a certain female and you're spontaneous. It's like, how do I know she actually likes me? I don't. She kind of like, I don't know. She argue with me all the time. She's mean as hell to me, but she keep bringing me food. You know what? I think she might mess with me. And then you present.
So
you present yourself, and then
dating?
She's like, no, not just dating, but a lot of times,
I'm confused.
The actual the idea that you're gonna actually speak to this woman, that you're gonna actually like present yourself, like, listen, I want to talk to you, blah blah this, blah blah that. That's a lot of times that's just spontaneous. We don't. A lot of times as guys, we don't actually know if the woman we going after truly messes with. She's just been nice. She's just been cordial. She may have said something and been like, yeah, maybe. But then once you present yourself, it's like, oh, no. Or, for example, when I proposed to my ex-wife, I proposed although I had no idea. Well, I mean, I had an idea, but it was like, what if she say no?
I think that's about risk. I don't call it. I don't know if I would say that's spontaneity. I think that's a risk. So things don't work out, and it's a-okay. But on another topic, I think that's being authentic and having authentic conversations. Because if you tell people how you truly feel about things, it makes for a more honest relationship. And I think oftentimes people just tell you what you think you want to hear instead of telling people like, no, this is not gonna work for me. And the power of no, like, I know a lot of people who can't say no, are there,
well, no is an awesome little creature,
but yes is good too. But if you mean no, no is fine. So I consider that the example you gave is authentic conversations, that being open and vulnerable to have those conversations. And I think psychologist Renee Brown talks about people being vulnerable and having these realistic conversations because it's hard. You're open. And I think when you're about to ask someone out or you go with someone, you're really open. And I know personally this year, after I went to a training and they referenced Brene Brown and talked about authentic conversations, I think the way I wanted to interact with people was different, and just be open. I was like, hey, this is difficult, this is challenge, and instead of trying to glamorize things, and just like, hey, it's hard, it's okay. Because when I acknowledged that, then they felt comfortable telling me their truth about whatever. So I think dating, and that just not doing all the games and just being open.
I don't know if there's a way to know. But this is the Cool Breeze Show. You can comment on the actual video below, down that way, all right? And you can follow me on Instagram at _KBREEZE, K-Breeze. And Jade, tell them where to find you.
At I am Jade, Jadea.
Bye. And we out.